Welcome back. We are continuing to talk about the aspect or the question of are you convinced? And it's going to be a two-part as we look at additional aspects of this. And I want us to, last time we looked at the story of David and Goliath, and now I want us to look at Colossians chapter 2 and some powerful things that I have learned as I've studied this recently. I don't know if you've ever been bullied or not, but if you have, you know what it's like. Whether they take your lunch money, they knock you down, do all kinds of different things to you, and you just feel dominated, and it's a horrible feeling. And we know in our society today, bullying is a big thing, and sometimes in our spiritual lives we can be dominated by the enemy. It could be our own thought life. It could be our own things that we've done wrong. It could be something that somebody's done to us. Fear, frustration, despair, whatever it is. But I found some really enlightening things from this from Colossians chapter 2 that I want us to look at. In verse 9, I'll read it from the Message. Beginning in verse 10, it says, when you come to Him, and this whole chapter is just really powerful. You need to read the whole thing. I don't have time to go in the whole thing, but I want to pick out some very important points. And I'm reading from the Message just because it's said a little bit differently, and it helps me to remember these types of things because it is said differently. It says, when you come to Him, that's talking about Jesus. That fullness. So earlier in the chapter he's talking about the fullness of life that we have when we come to Jesus. He says it comes together for you too. His power extends over everything. Now, that's the first thing we have to realize and we have to be convinced of, is that His power, Christ's power, extends over everything. All kinds of things that go on in our life, and we wonder, is God powerful enough? Is my sin too great? But this is a reminder: His power extends over everything. In Colossians chapter 2, verses 11 through 15, then he goes on to remind us that our sin is gone, and we've heard it before, but sometimes we forget. Because our mind works on us, someone may come back and say, well, yeah, that may have happened to you, but I know you. And then it gets into verse 14, and it's very specific. And again, I'm reading from the Message. He says, Paul says, the slate is wiped clean, that old arrest warrant canceled and nailed to Christ's cross. Now, it's interesting. In the NIV, it says he canceled the written code. In the NAS, he says it's a certificate of debt. But in the Message, there's an old arrest warrant. But the Greek noun there literally means a handwritten document that says how much we owe. Most of us are probably familiar with the IOU. I have an IOU app that I use for my kids. We have fun with it. Sometimes I owe them money, and sometimes they owe me money. And when I think about this, I think about the aspect that He has taken that IOU. We owed Him so much, more than we could ever repay. And it says in verse 14, He has wiped the slate clean. In essence, that old arrest warrant's canceled. So what basically He has done, He has ripped that up. Used to have IOUs that people would write on paper. In our case with technology, probably with the apps, He's wiped it out. So whatever I owed Christ, because of the work that He did on the cross, He wiped it out. Now, that's something that you and I need to be convinced of. There are things going on in our life. We've asked for forgiveness. We are sincerely sorry. We say, God, I'm going to change, and on and on. But our minds or other people come against us, and we have to remember, we have to be convinced that because of Christ's power, it extends over everything. Everything that we've done, if we come to Him with humility, come to Him with brokenness and a contrite heart. And so I want to encourage you to be convinced that His power extends over everything, and He has canceled your debt, and He has canceled my debt, and that is great, great news. We'll wrap up next time with talking about something pretty cool of what Christ has done for us.